Welcome back, Luxurious Fleet. Kirk Rifles here with the 2021 Acura RDX A-Spec. And in today's review, I'll go over the aggressive design, detail the high-tech interior, point out the great and not so great aspects, test its Napability, and take you on a ride on this performance bent crossover. And before we get too far ahead of ourselves, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to turn on notifications so you won't miss any of my news updates or car reviews. All right, let's find out if this RDX has more than just a spec of performance. Get it? A-spec? Now the front of the RDX looks really good this generation, and the A-Spec I think is probably the best iteration of the looks. You get this glossy black plastic around of a matte black plastic grille. The Acura logo is large, but it's functional as it houses the radar cruise control mechanisms. And the jewel headlights, of course, are stunning on every Acura, and there's no exception here. We get some fog lights on the A-Spec as well as you get them on the Advance, and then you get more glossy black plastic, which adds to the more aggressiveness of the A-Spec around this grille. So with the A-Spec, you get these large 20-inch wheels. They're a little bit dark, kind of like a gunmetal gray. I think they look great on this package. We don't have chrome around the windows, which I love on sporty packages. Now this A-Spec does not have power folding mirrors, which is kind of a letdown. And then at the bottom you have this dark plastic trim, which adds to the overall sporty effect of the side. Now the styling on the rear of the RDX is pretty good overall. Now this being the A-Spec, I wish they would have done a couple things different. I don't like the chrome badges. They don't really mesh with the black trim on the rest of the vehicle. Also, the large exhaust tips look great, but again, I wish they were maybe a little bit darker, not this aluminum color that kind of contrasts again with the darker trim on the side and the front. And then these chrome pieces at the top, that is a factory option, which doesn't fit with the rest of this vehicle. Now, if you're getting the Advanced package, which has a lot more chrome trim on the outside, I think those chrome pieces up there would look the part, but not in this A-Spec. But the highlight has to be the taillights. They look good in the nighttime, especially. On the interior of the 2021 Acura RDX A-Spec, quality materials overall are really impressive. Now this is going to have some Alcantara on it in the middle of the seats, and the only other place I could find it in the car was right here on the passenger dash. It would have been nice to get it on the doors, but I'm not going to complain because the door materials are still really nice. You get leather with some beautiful stitching, aluminum here on the door that wraps around, and you also see that on the dash. The steering wheel is perfect. It's nice and thick. It has great materials. The stitching is really nice, but overall the comfort in here is top notch. Now this Acura is loaded to the gills with technology. There's 2 dials on the steering wheel plus the volume knob that controls everything behind the steering wheel and the gauge cluster. And overall, it's really good. It's pretty high definition. And speaking of high definition, this middle screen is high definition. And when you have your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto up there, it's a very nice experience. However, the touchpad takes some getting used to, and it's a dual touchpad. I'll definitely talk more about it later, but it's kind of confusing. You have your drive-by-wire buttons here in the middle with the huge knob dedicated for your driving modes. And then putting the driving mode knob front and center, to me, is them trying to communicate that Acura is serious about performance. And we'll test that, of course, later. And since this is shift-by-wire, that opens up a lot of space down here. It's rubber matted, so if you put your phone down there, it's not going to fly away. But I prefer to have my phone up here in the cup holders. There's also, this is where you plug in your phone for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and there's a rubber mat in there as well so your phone doesn't fly away. Armrest is pretty darn comfortable, and inside is an additional storage space. So lots of storage actually up here in the front. So Acura is really proud of this ELS sound system, and they have a right to be. It's pretty darn good. Now, I have to silence Bryan Adams for you guys because of copyright issues, but the speakers in here are very well-rounded. They're everywhere. So I have one here, I have one down there, a tweeter up here, speakers behind the screen. Of course, it's doubled on that side. Speakers on the roof above me and above the passengers, as well as speakers in the door, okay? And then you have subs in the back. Then if you look behind the armrest or the headrest back there, could it use a little bit more bass? Maybe, a little bit more richer bass, but I've been in a lot of luxury cars that are very front heavy with the sound. And this car, while it does have a little bit more speakers up front, it does not sound front heavy at all. It's probably one of the best well-rounded stereo systems I've ever listened to. In the backseat of the RDX, it's a very comfortable experience. It's so nice with this panoramic sunroof. You can see above, visibility is great in the back seat. Of course, it's good in the front as well, but it's so comfortable back here just like it is in the front seat. Now, these seats do not recline, which is kind of unfortunate, and it kind of takes a tick off the Napability aspect of this car. Underneath the hood of the 2021 RDX A-Spec is the same engine you get on all the current RDXs, which is an excellent one. It's a 2-liter turbocharged engine with 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. And this is kind of like the base engine going forward for many Acura products. We know that the TLX is getting a Type S. We don't know if this one is, at least in this generation of body style. So we might be waiting a while before we get an upgraded engine over this base but excellent 2-liter turbo option. And the automatic transmission that it's connected to is a 10-speed that is really quick on the upshifts and is good enough for the downshifts. Behind the second row seats, guys, you're gonna get about 29.5 cubic feet of space, which is excellent. Not only that, this compartment opens up and you can fit a ton of extra junk in the trunk. Now, when you fold down the second row, that is about 59 or so cubic feet of space, which is a massive amount, which is even more than the next size up Lexus, which is the RX, which competes in a segment higher than this. This has a lot more cargo space than even that vehicle. And such excellent cargo space should lend itself to some excellent napability. Now, as being a crossover, it's actually pretty good with napability. You can lay back and with the big panoramic sunroof, you can enjoy the stars with a significant... Slumber party! No, not again. I call Little Spoon. There are so many features in this 2021 RDX, but I'm gonna go over the ones that make me the happiest. I love seeing the turbo gauge and the accelerometer on the MID behind the steering wheel. I just think that's so cool. I'm enchanted by the chimes and welcome screens in the car, and exit screens for that matter. When you get into the vehicle, it welcomes you with a nice little animation behind the steering wheel. And then when you start it up, it has a very nice startup process. And then when you're leaving the vehicle, you shut it off. It has a very nice closing, like you just came to an end of a wonderful journey. I love the standard panoramic sunroof in this vehicle. It is massive, and I love that you don't have to pay extra for it. It's standard. And lastly, guys, these headrests are 4-way adjustable. I cannot tell you how important that is for so many people out there. There have been so many vehicles I've been in that you can't adjust the headrest, and for a lot of people, that is a deal breaker. All right, now, this car is not perfect, so what about the lowlights in it? The touchpad and the separate scrolling option is kind of confusing. So the big touchpad controls the big part of the screen, and then there's always a split screen. You cannot make it full screen Android Auto, for example. And then there's a right-hand side of the screen, which is only controlled by the flick of this scroll touchpad. It's like a minuscule compared to the other touchpad. It's just kind of confusing. It took me a while to figure out. I've never seen dual input interfaces for one single screen before. Now, while the backseat is comfortable, my gosh, there's hard black scratchy plastic that just doesn't seem at home in this tier of vehicle. Everything else in the vehicle in terms of materials seems spot on, but for some reason those scratchy black plastic seats on the back here is just it gives me it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. Kinda is no surprise, you guys picked 0 to 60 for like the 3rd time in a row for the most anticipated feature of this review. So we're gonna twist this bad boy into Sport Plus mode, traction control off, lay off the brake, smash the accelerator, hands on the steering wheel, guys, and go. Okay, that was pretty quick. It took a while to get the boost going. I wouldn't say it was like a turbo lag or anything like that, but it definitely took a while for the power to kick. Maybe it is a turbo lag, but I've never experienced that in this car before where it just takes a little bit for the power to take off. And once you get about 3,000 to 4,000 RPM, you feel like you're in your stride, and then it shifts up really, really quickly. Now, driving out on the interstate, it's actually pretty quiet. Now, you don't hear that much road noise. You hear more from the passing cars and maybe the mirrors. But overall, I would say it's pretty darn quiet in here. The passing power is good. The transmission's not always the most responsive. I'm gonna plug it into Sport Plus. That was Sport mode and it was a little lethargic for my liking. Let's see if Sport Plus is going to do us any favors here passing this semi. The power is excellent. I'm very happy with the 280 pound-feet of torque and then the 272 horsepower. But yeah, the responsiveness could be a little bit better from this transmission. Again, 3-2-1 punch. Man, okay. So the upshifts are so satisfying. It picks them real quick, and since I'm in Sport Plus mode, it likes hanging into that gear a little bit longer when you get off the throttle. Now, in regards to the transmission, one more time, since I've been driving it a little bit more here on the freeway, it does do really, really well with medium accelerator presses. So if I press down, it immediately goes to the next gear down and starts accelerating, which is probably how most people are going to be driving the car. Instead, when you press the accelerator all the way down, like I just did, it feels like it's more than double the time before it picks the right gear. So it is, unless you're flooring it, it's going to be a very, very quick shifting and decisive transmission. But when you do floor it, it likes to hesitate and then pick 2-3 gears down and then go. On the most grueling Nebraska roads, which are not very grueling, we're gonna take it in Sport Plus mode and we're gonna see how much this RDX A-Spec wants us to push it. That's a pretty cool car right there. Braking test, my goodness, these brakes are pretty good. The pedal just keeps going down in a linear manner, and the more you press, the more you get. So it's very progressive. I guess that's probably the best way to put it, which I like. I like how it's not too touchy. I hate really touchy brakes. Taking this super hard around the turns, and with some bumps right there, all sorts it out really, really well. And you can't really expect much more from a sporty SUV. So well done, Acura. Handling and ride quality from Sport Plus mode to Comfort mode is excellent. There's no denying that this 2021 RDX A-Spec is phenomenal for the price. At just about $47,600, it is going to give you quite a bit of features, space, and most importantly, as Acura wants to portray, is performance. This is probably the best performing luxury Japanese SUV that you can currently buy. Two features that I wish it had would be a heated steering wheel at this price point, as well as auto folding mirrors. Not having either of those is probably not a deal breaker for 99% of people out there. The styling, the performance, the overall package, and for the price point, it's hard to beat this RDX here in 2021. But I'll see you guys in the comments below. If you made it this far into the video, definitely smash the like button and subscribe if you're not already for more reviews coming here in the future. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves and peace out.